So we're now on episode 8 of Tommy Jam's BanjaraTalkies, and we're with Srinjay Banerjee. So do you want to say something about yourself, like an introduction?
Hi, y'all. uh, well, yeah, I just want to say hi to whoever's going to be watching this. And I hope you get something informative out of this, I guess, about the life and times of independent musicians in the country,
Yeah, I'm sure there is.
such as it
So,
is.
yeah, so let's just start. I'll just give you a brief on how this is going to work. So we'll divide the whole thing into three sections. The first one will be some
Sure.
normal questions regarding you, your band, your music, everything.
Sure.
The second part will be a rapid fire where we'll basically fire questions to you, five of them, short ones, and you give us short answers like quickly, really quickly. And the last
Yep.
one is basically, so the audience of this video will be mostly young and upcoming musicians who might want to follow in your footsteps because you've already made some kind of a mark in the music industry. So
Jesus.
we'll just we'll just ask you some tips and advice based on what is your forte in terms of music, which people can use later on. So I think Ivna, we are ready to go for that.
Okay, cool. So Srinjay, what is a bit of background about yourself? Where have you sort of grown up? What's your story, essentially?
Right. Well, I mean, I grew up in Calcutta, and I studied here for the longest time, till all through to high school, and then I went to college. I took a year off after high school, and then went to college in upstate New York in Ithaca College, and I graduated in 2009 with a degree in computer science. And but after that, I came back to India, and since then I've kind of been working at this, trying to keep things moving. That's
So
really the
when
only thing that
did
motivates
music
me.
come along?
I started. I was uh, I was formally educated in playing classical piano, and I started when I was I think 7 or 8 years old, and I continued playing piano till about 12 or 13. Um, when I was giving my 10th grade, or right after my 10th grade exams, I took up the guitar, and since then, I've been playing guitar. Though of late, I've gotten back to playing piano as much as I can.
So what's the connection between computer science and music? Have you like followed through with computer science, or is that sort of in
Well,
the background?
I don't work in the. I mean, thankfully, I don't work in the software industry. Uh, but it's funny that by the time that I was graduating, my senior year research project was based on basically using artificial intelligence techniques, particularly this thing called genetic algorithms, to to create music. I mean, it's like something that is of real interest to me. I mean, at some point in the future, I'd really love to go back. I mean, I keep tinkering with the code, and which I keep forgetting the longer I do the other thing. But yeah, at some point in the future, I really like to go back and pursue research on that because it's something that is of great interest to me.
And you said that you've done some master classes in, was it guitar playing in New York, or what was it that you did alongside?
I basically sat in on like classes conducted by the faculty as well as the visiting faculty who came around because Ithaca has like an amazing music school. A lot of the piano as well as the guitar faculty who came in were classical guitar players, and I didn't play classical guitar and I don't play classical guitar, but it was of great interest to me, just to like hear their thoughts on practicing and performing
Did you
and
get to
stuff like
perform a
that.
lot in New York, or?
I had like I had an ensemble. I mean, I had a band there, which was I think I had that from my sophomore year. I mean, my freshman year it was kind of like meeting people and playing with them, and up until my senior year, I had this. It was kind of like a progressive rock ensemble of sorts, and we had a lot of fun. We played a bunch of gigs around in Ithaca, and that was great.
Nice.
So how would you say, like, what is the difference between performing in like New York versus Kolkata or somewhere in India?
One thing that I think is really different is that like I see a lot of people get down and dancing, to the music, which is just great, And when sometimes when I play in Calcutta, and I mean I've seen people dance, and that's like just amazing. Because it really doesn't matter what you play, whether you're playing heavy metal or whatever, like EDM, what have you. But because if people are dancing, for sure they're enjoying the music. But then a lot of times I see people like come in with like, oh, let me see what these guys are doing. I'm like, just relax, just come and just enjoy the gig, like have a drink. Don't don't sit here and start analyzing. It's actually one of the major differences. Apart from that, I mean, maybe even some time ago, I would say there may have been a certain kind of disparity in people playing the level of people, the competency in terms of ability and stuff playing instruments here, Western instruments here, particularly here, as opposed to there. But I think at this point, it's like a really even playing field. I see musicians of really high caliber from this country.
Okay.
Okay.
And you play guitar, piano, and do you play anything else as well, or
I love playing drums when I
you play the
can.
drums?
So you're a band in
Yeah.
yourself, right?
Yeah, that would be nice. That'd be nice if I could like just do the whole thing myself. That'd save me a lot of headache.
Okay, so yeah, interesting point. So is being in a band a headache?
It is in a sense because well, because the way I operate my own outfit is that this is not exactly a band in the sense that like
It's an
it's like a real
ensemble.
brotherhood. It's more of like my project, and I enlist people based
Right.
on who I think is going to be apt for playing the music that I'm going to play at a particular gig, and which is good because it leaves me open to finding like the best possible cats who are around, who
Hmm.
I can recruit for a particular gig. That said, you also have to deal with working with other people's schedules,
Right.
because I'm you're playing with other professionals who
Right.
are busy with their own work, and so that kind of cuts down on rehearsal time a lot actually, because it's not that I can like, since I'm not paying them to rehearse with me, I
Yeah.
can't be like, hey, we got to rehearse every day. So it really is a period of time before the gig that the we get together, and if necessary I send out the music prior to that point, so they can like go through it and see what's there, so that when we come together we start rehearsing it together.
So one question that I had was that your bandmates or
Yeah.
so they are session musicians, is it?
They're, I mean, they session for other projects in the city for other commercial purposes. They're not so much session musicians in the sense that I know very well, and I
Okay.
have like a pool of people who I draw from.
Right.
It's usually like, and I have people who I've known for a while, or I have gone to school with school meaning Sam, or I've played
And
with before. So
and do you also do something similar, like in the parallel? Like, do you also play for other artists?
yeah, I freelance for other projects, and it
Okay.
will be like, say I freelance for my drummer's own project and things
Yeah.
like that, or somebody else who's or say one of my early bass players, he has his own thing, and he'll be like, hey, can you come in on this gig? I'll be like, sure. Nice in a way because it allows it keeps like a nice network of musicians who are working
Hmm.
towards some common goals, and it's we all kind of know each other, and we can call one another up and be like, hey, let's do this, or so that works in a way. But then there can be scheduling conflicts, and you know sometimes of course I usually when I have people come in my project, I as much as possible I try not to force too much of what I think is right and
Hmm.
what I think they should be doing. I
Right.
mean, it's only in rather extraneous circumstances I'll be like, okay, I want you to play this specific thing, because I'd rather trust the person because who I've brought in,
Hmm.
and I'd like them to interpret whatever it is that I'm giving to them to do.
But you lay down the rules, like this is the composition and this is how it's gonna work or not.
If we're doing one of my compositions, and bear in mind a lot of this stuff hasn't really been played live. It's still like
Okay.
in the works. Like most of the times we rehearse a lot of this stuff, and then depending on how I feel on the gig, we play like one or two of the songs,
Yeah.
and we reserve the rest. We'll be like, keep that, let that stuff, keep cooking. But if
Right.
it's my own tune, I have some which are, which have very specific parts written out, like the bass parts are written out as well as the keyboard parts are written out. The only person who actually gets away is the drummer. And well, my current drummer is like, he's played tabla for like forever. So, and he shifted out to the drums and he just started like really killing it. So, I don't want to mess with that guy because he'll mess with me twice more later. He'll be like, "Come over, I'm bring out my tablas. You bring your acoustic guitar." I'll be like, "Oh, shit."
Do you guys tend to like improv a lot, or
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when I started out the trio, it actually started out as a trio, and when we started out, we'd actually just we'd have a we'd have a few songs, which would draw from like contemporary jazz and fusion standards, some John Scofield or Billy Cobham and stuff like that, and but then we'd keep major parts of the set pretty open, where we just kind of see what went and we'd improvise and try and come up with something. And a lot of times, something like that can be disastrous. Like, but I think even if it is absolutely disastrous, there's something to be said for like, people like getting into it because they'd be like, shit, like, nobody really knows like what's gonna happen. But whether that's good or bad,
Bad.
it's difficult to evaluate because since you're doing it, you're kind of like just making instantaneous decisions. So you can't really reflect too much on what's happening, but try
Yeah.
and kind of like guide the energy that's there within a certain number of people.
but yeah, what would you call your style then?
The thing is like, I don't particularly like this whole aspect of style. Like this word is a little strange to me because I really don't know what style is, to be honest. Like, I mean, I study all the stuff that's been there before. I mean, I played a shit ton of like heavy metal and rock and roll when I was. To be honest, it was really after kind of going to New York and hanging out with some people who would like call me up for like a jam at like the local jazz club and jazz bar in Ithaca, and I'd go there like just like totally like just not knowing what the hell I was supposed to do. But they were really nice people who I played with, and they'd be like, "Yeah, man, just play, man." I'd be like, "All right," and I'd be sharing the bass player's chart, and like for people who haven't done that, it's a nightmare sharing the bass player's chart, especially if it's an upright bass player. He's like, I'm like already like I'm outside the frame. I'm like peeking over at his sheet, and then I see it's at a key that I haven't really played in, and I've had like funny experiences with listening to jazz because like when I was like I don't know, I think I must have been like 10 years old or something. My dad got in like a bunch of like cassettes, and one of them I think was like a Duke Ellington big band kind of thing, which I just absolutely disliked at that point. I was like, whoa, it's too abrasive, it's too crazy. But then the other one was Stan Getz playing with Jobim, and I had no idea what that was. I had no clue what that music was. Didn't care. I just remember it that I played that cassette every morning when I would go to school, and every night before I went to sleep, until I think I destroyed the cassette. And the reason why I had heard the cassette in the first place is because my dad, I think he's kind of tone deaf. I don't know. It's strange. He has strange tastes in music, and like I till date I've never been able to account for how he's given me some of the things that he's given me, because I'm pretty sure like he had no idea who Stan Getz was, but he gave it to me and he was like, this guy is like best horn player in the world, and I was like, okay, if he's saying he's the best horn player in the world, he can't be right. So I checked it out and like, yeah, Stan Getz, like he's like one of my like most important influences, I think. Like I don't know, like his playing is like watching Mark Waugh bat, and Mark Waugh is my favorite batsman. So it's like all class, elegance. The reason I chose playing guitar was for it was something really visceral. Like I heard Richie Blackmore playing Fireball live in Japan, Deep Purple, and I was like, hell yes, that's where it's at. And after that, once I heard Yngwie Malmsteen, I was like, oh my God, like this is what I want to do. Like this is it. Like that's the answer to life, the universe, and everything right there. But eventually, you sort of like tend to move beyond the overt. Uh,
So basically, you take whatever you experience and kind of put it together and make something out of it. Would you say
yeah,
that's
I mean I think that's the only way to, that's in my opinion anyway, that's the only way one can go about it, because to exclude, things would be doing yourself a disservice. Surface reasons for playing an instrument or, playing a kind of music, and then you realize that you're doing it for something which you're not even sure what it is. Like it's some kind of personal understand, like quest for like I don't know, meaning or anything, but it's just something to do, that is outside of everything else that society or whatever sets for you.
So what will make you stick to this and like continue on this path forever?
It's like it's not really a choice. It's like, I don't know, you want to call it some kind of calling or whatever, but it's it there is it it's something that I can't even, there is no question about it. Like, I mean, it's, well, for one thing, it's about getting better.
Hmm.
It's like that's something that's always been there. Like since I started, like it was like I every day that I sit down to play, it's like, you know there's just one little thing that I do a little better than what I did yesterday, and that's like, to me, that is reason enough to keep going. There is something that is so outside of like everyday life, and like um it's difficult to define in words, but you're transported to a different place, and the more you go to that place, you keep wanting to go there. Like
Yeah.
and it's totally a complete escape from the reality that it is.
Hmm.
Like in my opinion, it has nothing to do with everyday reality. I mean, you play in front of people for sure, and you know to a degree you can see people, enjoying your music or not enjoying your music or whatever it is. But really, when you're playing it, at least from my point of view, I'm not there. Like,
Right.
and it's something else. It's when I'm playing, like, I don't even want to be conscious of myself as a person and like who I am and things like that, because I feel like that would color the experience of the
Yeah.
music that's coming through. Because
Hmm.
it, it's yeah.
and
Understand.
how did something like Sam sort of help you or influence you as the musician that you are today? Sam or Itika even, you know?
As far as Ithaca goes, like it was just like it was playing with a whole bunch of people and like playing music as diverse as like like Afrobeat or bluegrass and or like because Ithaca is like such a musically fertile place. It has literally every kind of music that you can imagine uh, going on there, and it was a great experience that way. As Sam goes, I really went there with some very specific things in mind, and it was actually uh, I had the opportunity to study with some amazing teachers, like really take private lessons, like with this pianist called Manuel Valera. He was recently nominated for a Latin Jazz Grammy, as well as pianists like Dario Boente, and like these guys are musicians, were playing in New York, like they're at the top of their game, and like hanging with guys like that, they can like whip you up into shape pretty quick, because and these aren't like scoffy educators, who have like spent most of their lives like just teaching. It's like there was a great balance between like a theoretical approach to music as to like can you play it? I mean, can you hang? Do you have the chops? It's like just straight up, and it was great. It was great studying with these guys, like interacting with these teachers. Like you understand, like, and you understand the time that they have put in, because it doesn't really matter like if you're born a child prodigy, or you're born with like zero talent at playing the instrument. But it's basically like if you have the desire to do it, like you just have to put in the work, and there's no substitute for it. Like you just got to keep at it, like up until and your whole life will go by, and you'll still keep doing it. Because that's the best part of it, because that's why you keep doing it, because there is no end to it. And I've been lucky to play with some of them in a professional capacity, like this bass player Jen, who was there at Sam my first term. I had got him down sometime. I think it was in August or September of this year. I got him down to Calcutta, and we played a couple of gigs.
Yeah.
And that was great. And I happened to meet this keyboard player from Calcutta at Sam, who I had no idea lived in Calcutta. This guy called Zafar, and he was just kick-ass. So I got to meet some really cool musicians, some people from Delhi. Like there are a lot of Delhi cats who were in Sam, and it was really inspiring to meet people in your own sort of contemporaries who are really trying to get better at their music and just just trying to do it. And we all have this. We're all dealing with the same things, in terms of like, okay, like, when's the next gig coming in, like, am I having enough time to practice? When am I going to write some more songs? Like, oh, am I going to have to do that Bhangra gig? Or, whatever it is, like, we're all in the same boat. But this place is amazing, Sam, because it's allowing us to, like, build a network of musicians across the country who can, like, stay connected, who can help each other out. In my first term in Sam, I was teaching there as well. I was teaching, like, the first module of guitar techniques, and I was like really pushed towards like getting better, because like I was like, damn, these guys are asking me all these crazy questions, like I can do half this stuff myself. I better get this down so I can do it next class and show them. Like, and maybe try this,
Okay. So I guess we are done with the first section. Yeah, Kirtana?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so then let's move to the second one, which is the rapid fire round. So Kirtana, you wanna take him on a rapid fire round?
Okay, so I'll ask you 5 questions, and you have to, like, without thinking, just give the first answer that comes to your head, okay?
Okay.
So, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. If you're not playing music, what are you doing? And eating and sleeping don't count.
Reading.
Okay. Which movie do you wish was never made?
It, God. I,
No?
I really don't know. I enjoy watching movies.
Okay, we'll put
I can
that
find
as
something
a...
horrible. Yeah. Yeah. Like take the worst movie. Take the worst movie. I can find something redeeming in it.
An optimist.
If you could take credit for any artist's entire body of work, who would you choose?
I'd have to say Stan Getz.
Okay. Favorite ice cream flavor?
I don't really eat ice cream that much.
Favorite music venue in India?
Humming Tree for now. Yeah.
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 Okay, that's our 5 questions for the rapid fire round.
Yeah.
So,
So you wanna play at Humming Tree again, but this time with a quartet?
Yeah. I mean, last time I played with Gauri, and I think you were there for our gig.
Right.
So, I mean, Gauri is also someone I met at Sam, like, and
Yeah.
that was just an amazing experience, because it was, you gotta feel something when you're playing at a particular venue, and this place had all the right ingredients, and it was a very challenging experience, because like playing with a singer is not something that I'm very accustomed to doing, and so it was, the vibe of the place was so good, and basically we hadn't really had time to rehearse a lot, but we played 2 preceding gigs, so it was kind of like I had like extensive things written out for all her songs, like I mean, she claims she writes really simple music, but I don't know about that, because like I spent like a lot of time on each of her songs, like, because I really wanted to like play according to like what she was singing, like everything should have meaning in relation to the lyrics.
Yeah.
So it was very challenging for me, but then like just the vibe at the Humming Tree was so nice, like it was awesome playing that gig, like we kind of nailed it, and like I really want to go back there in my quartet and and do my thing there too.
So yeah, I guess we can move to the last sections where we basically take some tips out of you for the young and upcoming musicians. So I think Keetna already has a couple of questions, and then I might come up with a few too.
Sure.
okay. So what level do you think a person who's like, learning to play an instrument should go into professional coaching, if at all, or should they, be self-taught or? What's your suggestion for that?
Well, I think it should be like motivated by like if you really feel that you need to get a teacher, you might consider at that point looking to study with someone privately or going to school. I mean, going to school is such a it's such a dicey thing because like from what I'm aware of, like the fees at like say a place like Berkeley or something, it's just exorbitant. It is exorbitant. Like, and like I mean, there are so many stories and like there are like hard facts, like people who graduate out of music schools and they take loans and then they spend like so much time thereafter paying off, like it's paying off student loans and things like that. Like, I mean, I I mean, I'm lucky in a way that like Sam came up in India, and I had my eye on the school since like the day they had come up, and I was just kind of waiting to see like when they'd start giving out scholarships. So when they started that, I was like, okay. But I mean, yeah, you should really be moved to study music in any formal way, because unless you're ready for it, it might kind of backfire against you, because you also know of a lot of people who go to music school and they either gain nothing out of it, like, or they drop out midway, or things like that, because it's very demanding.
So you would say that like it's whenever you feel ready, there's no, would you put a sort of ceiling at which you should achieve before you can kind of apply to music schools and things, or?
I mean, in a sense, I think it's good to have like a certain basic command of the instrument, like whatever instrument that you play. If you really want to get something out of going to music school, I mean, it's kind of important to have like a thorough understanding of the basics. In a sense, like if you were to like if you went to study like I don't know, like physics, or if you were to major in physics or in computer science or things like that, you know it's kind of expected that you've dealt with the subject before and like you understand some of the basics of it. But
Right.
if you're going to go to music school and like you've kind of picked up guitar like a year ago, I mean, it's great that you're going to learn, but you have to figure out like exactly what you're going to get out of it, because depending on who's teaching you, like that person may be coming from a certain level, and there could be a vast sort of like gap between
Right.
what they're trying to tell you and what you're ready for. So yeah,
Okay, so one last thing that as a full-time musician, like you're full-time right now, so
right now
yeah, so what are the challenges that you might face and how do you cope with them generally?
well, I mean, the thing, like, well, the first thing is that it's you know there still is, I mean, today it seems that there is a dedicated audience for independent music in the country, right?
Right,
Because we have festivals all over the place now and things like that. But there is a sort of a difference between having a dedicated audience, or like a discerning audience, as opposed to people who would go to any live music gig, or any music event,
right,
because the majority of the people who are, I think, going for a lot of these things now, maybe they haven't had an opportunity to hear a lot of live music before, so they would go to any opportunity that's available, which is great. But the things that are still like for instance, one of the reasons that I admire the metal community in India is that like there is a very dedicated like base of like a dedicated audience that will go and actually listen to their favorite metal bands. Like, I mean, the metal community has always had this sort of like solidarity. Like, they
togetherness,
really
yeah,
look out like for the artists.
right,
I The other genres, or different kinds of music that are happening, they still haven't quite developed their
made the
niche
mark,
audience,
yeah.
which or their markets, which can effectively sustain the artists. And I mean, I still think that's going to take some time.
So I think, yeah, that covers almost all of my questions. Kitna, do you
Right.
have any there?
No, I think that's I'm done too.
All right,
So
great. So thanks, Srinjay. Thanks for taking
Yeah,
out
man.
the time, and
Sure.
thanks for getting a good internet connection. We'll keep
Yeah.
it.
Oh man. Yeah, man. I mean, for somebody who like majored in computer science, I'm like really technologically backward. And I think as I get as I get older, which is a horrible thing, horrible thing. But it's like I think I get more resistant towards technology. Like it's a strange thing, like 'cause it's all around and yeah.
It's good to
I don't
stick
know.
to your
Maybe
older
I'm just
past.
conservative.
Yeah, great. So
All right.
with this, we'll close, and let me just stop the recording and thank you once again.
Sure. Thank you.